Hi, hello and welcome. Hej, jag heter Gabriele och jag är er lärare i svenska. My name is Gabriele and it just happens so that I'm going to be your Swedish teacher for this course. First of all, I'd like to accentuate that I'm more than thrilled to have you here. It baffles me every single time to realize that there are more and more people who would like to join our community of Swedish-speaking people, and that there are more and more people who are eager to learn Swedish due to various reasons. So I'm just really, really glad to be able to offer you my assistance in this journey of yours. Now, let's take a look at the screen. Here on your screens, you should be able to see this outline of our course. As you see, we are going to have 30 usual lessons, lektion 30, right? So your first word is lektion, a lesson, right? You might also notice that we are going to have 5 really short and easy self-checkup tests that are here for you to assess how good you are in terms of studying Swedish. And then there's also sluttenta, or the final test, that is to be taken after having done the whole course. But let's not get too much into detail with all these tests, right? Today is our first lesson only, and the topic for today's lesson is the verb is the king. So today we are going to find out why exactly the verb. What is so special about the verb, why we should draw our attention when it comes to its position, and why it is, again, exactly the verb that makes one of key rules when it comes to Swedish syntax. So without further ado, let's get started. We are going to begin with very easy yet essential information, that is introduction. Learn how to introduce yourself, or lär dig att presentera dig själv. Now here on your left, you are going to see a really short dialogue between 2 young people, between Patricia and Daniel. Dialogue takes place at language courses, or på kurs. So the noun kurs translates into English as courses, and på, this little word that precedes the noun kurs, is a preposition, one of the prepositions that we use to indicate location. So my advice is for you to remember that with the word courses, we are always going to use the preposition på. So let's analyze the dialogue line by line. What do you have these people to say? Hej, jag heter Patricia. Hej, jag heter Patricia. Hi, my name is Patricia. The first line. Jag heter, my name is. To tell you the truth, the verb heter is actually to be called, but usually we translate this line as my name is. Now, the boys answer. Hej, Daniel heter jag. Hej, Daniel heter jag. Right? So an alternative construction to say that my name is to position your name at the initial position of the sentence. Daniel heter jag, right? This is something that we linguists call fronting, right? Why is this done? Purely due to stylistic reasons. In this case, Daniel wants to accentuate that it is exactly Daniel that is his name and not something else, right? So, 2 ways of saying what your name is. Jag heter Gabriele, eller, och Gabriele heter jag. Remember the topic of our lesson today. The verb is the king. Notice how the verb always stays in the second position. So, although it does not take the first position, it always stays in the second position. So when I'm going to show you the sign, it's not because that I'm a huge fan of it, but because the verb always takes the second position. Let's see what happens next. Varifrån kommer du, Daniel? Varifrån kommer du, Daniel? There's a question. Where do you come from, Daniel? Right? It's a question starting with the question word varifrån, where from. Now, Daniel answers, från Australien. Och du, kommer du från Spanien? Från Australien. Och du, kommer du från Spanien? Another type of question. This time, it does not start with the question word. Instead, it begins with the verb itself. Kommer du från? Do you come from? And then we say the name of the place. Now this du is a shortened version of a question och varifrån kommer du? Right? Swedes are very simple people, so if they can shorten something, they are going to do so. So it is an identical structure that we have in English, right? And you can use the same thing in Swedish. Och du? Next we have nej, jag kommer från Argentina. Nej, jag kommer från Argentina. So in order to make a statement, to say that you come from, and then you mention the name of the place, we use the following structure. Jag kommer från, I am or I come from. So the verb kommer means come. Jaha, vad talar du för språk? Jaha, vad talar du för språk? Now, this jaha is a very interesting reaction word. If you go to Sweden, you're going to hear it all the time. So jaha means something similar to, okay, I get it, interesting. And another question, starting with the question word vad. Vad. Vad talar du för språk? What languages do you speak? Ett språk is a language. So what languages do you speak? Vad talar du för språk? Talar means to speak. Engelska och lite svenska. Och spanska såklart. So here we mention 3 different languages. Engelska, English, svenska, Swedish, and Spanish. What is omitted here is the statement jag talar, I speak. Remember, a few seconds ago I mentioned you the Swedes like to shorten everything that they can. This is yet one more example of the situation. Jag talar engelska och lite svenska och jag talar spanska, såklart. This little word såklart means of course, såklart. Final comment, jaha, vad bra. Again with the jaha. And then we have another expression, vad bra. It's something similar to how cool, how nice, how good. Vad bra. Moving on further, we have a scheme that illustrates something that we have to take into account before constructing affirmative sentences in Swedish, or påstående. An affirmative sentence, ett påstående. Right? So what we have to remember is 4 columns, 4 different groups. The first one is the subject. The second one is, of course, the verb. The third one is negation, if we have any. And the fourth one is other, something that is left. And 2 very simple examples. A positive statement, an affirmative statement. Jag pratar svenska. I speak Swedish. Notice how we have another verb here, pratar. In the previous dialogue, we had the verb talar. So the verbs talar and pratar are synonyms, and they can and are used interchangeably, right? So I speak Swedish. If we want to make a negative statement, we use the negation word inte. What is special about negation is that it always comes after the verb, and this is one more reason why we should remember that the verb always takes the second position, because then the negation comes after the verb. If we forget this rule, then everything gets really messy, right? So, in order to say I do not speak Swedish, we say jag pratar inte svenska. Jag pratar inte svenska. Let's see what's waiting for us next. Next, we have a few more examples, or exempel. A column on your left are examples in Swedish, svenska, and then the translation in English, engelska. Jag läser en bok. I am reading a book. Jag läser en bok. So the verb läser is reading. En bok, a book. Du talar inte svenska. You don't speak Swedish. Du talar inte svenska. A new pronoun, du, meaning you. And example number 3, vi älskar dig. We love you. Vi älskar dig. We love you. Vi is one more new pronoun, which is the first person plural, vi as we, and then the verb älskar, love. And then they is an object pronoun, you. So notice how the verb is again in the second position in all of the examples. Okay. Next we have a little test for you. Test yourself. Testa dig själv. Let's take a look at the example here. So we have some words. Pratar hon engelska? Right? They are separated by slashes. Your task is to make sense out of these sentences, right? To make them sound logical, following the word order scheme, right? A little cheat piece of information for you is here, right? Remember that we might start with the noun or pronoun, and as in this case, hon means she. She speaks English, right? Then what do we have? Yes, you are right. We have the verb because we are talking about the second position. If you want to make a negative sentence, we use negation, which comes after the verb, right? Then the object and something that is left. So we have 5 sentences here and 30 seconds for you to do the task. And your time starts right now. And unfortunately, the time is up. It's time for us to take a look at the answer key, or facit, right? So answer key in Swedish is facit. So let's take a look at these sentences. Tidningen läser jag inte. Most probably we want to say I am not reading the newspaper. Jag läser inte tidningen, right? So this noun, en tidning, is a newspaper. En tidning, a newspaper. Kommer jag från Spanien? A simple statement, a fact. I come from Spain. Jag kommer från Spanien. Example number 3. We have the negation word. Inte lyssnar han på radio. So negation comes always after the verb. Han lyssnar inte på radio. He is not listening to the radio. New pronoun, he. Han. Vi engelska och tyska talar. Vi talar engelska och tyska. We speak English and German. So tyska is German. And then the last one, heter hon Sofia? Here we have 2 possible answers. Hon heter Sofia, or Sofia heter hon, if we want to make our answer a little bit more fancy and put some extra stress on the name. Hon heter Sofia, Sofia heter hon. Yes. So one more time, notice the rule where verb takes always a second position. Jag läser inte tidningen. Jag kommer från Spanien. Han lyssnar inte på radio. Vi talar engelska och tyska. Hon heter Sofia. Sofia heter hon. Right? The verb always takes the second position. I have a feeling that you did great, right? So for you not to die out of boredom, here's yet another exercise for you. Read the text below and answer the questions. Läs texten och svara på frågorna. So here on your left, you have a small introduction text about Eva, right? And 3 questions to answer. Vad heter hon? Varifrån kommer hon? And vad talar hon för språk? Right? You're going to find the answers in the text, and you have 40 seconds for the exercise. Let's start. And 40 seconds have passed, and it's time for us to take a look at the answers again. So, vad heter hon? What is her name? Hon heter Eva. Jag heter Eva. We have to change the pronoun. Hon heter Eva because we are describing another person, right? Varifrån kommer hon? Where does she come from? Hon kommer från Polen. Jo, så Polen is Poland. Vad talar hon för språk? What languages does she speak? Hon talar polska, which is Polish, svenska, Swedish, och lite tyska. And a little bit of German. Lite, a little bit, or a tiny bit, and tyska, German. We have one more sentence. Jag är gift, which means I am married, right? So the verb gift means to be married. Jag är gift. What have we learned today? It's time for us to wrap our lesson, right? Today we have learned. Idag har vi lärt oss to introduce ourselves, att presentera sig. Jag heter, my name is, och heter jag, is my name. Jag kommer från, I am from. Jag kommer från Polen. Jag talar eller pratar, I speak. Jag pratar svenska och engelska. Now, if we want to ask questions, these are the following structures that we may use. Vad heter du? What is your name? Varifrån kommer du? Where do you come from? Kommer du från? Are you from Polen? Kommer du från Polen? Vad talar du för språk? What languages do you speak? Right? Yes. What comes next? Vocabulary or ordlista. First of all, let's revise pronouns or pronomen. Jag, I. Du, you. Han, he. Hon, she. The spelling is with letter O, but we pronounce it as O. Hon, she. The, we, long and open E. The. They, you is an object pronoun. Then we have verbs or verb. Heter is called. Kommer, comes from. Pratar och talar, speaks. Är, is, jag är från Polen, till exempel, for example. Läser is reading. Now, another meaning of this word is also to be studying, right? So we may also say, vi läser svenska. We are studying Swedish. Or, jag läser en bok. I am reading a book. So, either to read or to study. Älskar, loves, remember, vi älskar dig. Lyssnar på, is listening to, I'd like to draw attention that the verb lyssnar is always used with the preposition på, just as we have listening to in English. Studerar is studying. Then prepositions, prepositioner. Från, from. På has a bunch of translations, possible translations. On, at och to. Vi träffas på kursen. We meet each other during the courses or at language courses. Hon lyssnar på radio. She is listening to the radio. För, få. Vad talar du för språk? And then our ordlista. Nouns, substantiv. Australian, Australia. Spanien, Spain. Argentina, Argentina. Engelska, English. Svenska, Swedish. Spanska, Spanish. En bok, a book. En tidning, a newspaper. Right, jag läser en tidning. I am reading a newspaper. En radio, radio. Tyska, German. Polen, Poland. Ett universitet, university. Polska, Polish. And ett språk, a language. We are left with question words, frågeord. Var, what, varifrån, where from, and other things. Övrig, inte, which is a negation word. Jag pratar inte svenska. Gift, married. Lite, a little bit. And eller, or, conjunction for expressing alternative. And so, believe it or not, that is it. I would like to congratulate you on having finished your first Swedish lesson. That wasn't that hard, was it? So good job. Bra jobbat. And a few final comments from my side. If you feel like that you would like to have even more practice, do not hesitate to join our community and sign up for online Swedish group classes to sharpen your language skills, to practice even more with both a teacher and your fellow group mates. I strongly advise you to explore our school, Language Academy, on our school website that you can reach using the address here, www.amacademy.eu. Here on the screen, you can see our school's website. This is the page Contact Us, where you can also send us a message directly on the website. If you do, however, prefer to use other means in order to reach out to us, you might as well just write us a message. The email address is here, studios@amacademy.eu, or you might as well phone us, give us a call using any of these numbers provided for you below. Also, all of this is not only for you to sign up for online Swedish classes, but if you would also like to express your comments, observations, or suggestions, how this course or language learning in general might be improved. So, we will be looking for your comments. I am looking forward to meeting you on our lesson at number 2, and that is it for today. So, see you soon.